Hi and welcome to the video. Today I'm travelling with EasyJet from Glasgow to Alicante on board one of their Airbus A319 aircraft. So thanks for coming along with me. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's go! Although the rest of the check-in area was quiet, there was a fairly large queue at the EasyJet bag drop area. We had already checked in online and printed off our boarding passes, so we expected the bag drop to be a relatively quick and simple process. Sadly, this was not to be, and it took us around 40 minutes of queuing before we were able to use one of the 3 available bag drop machines. A 4th machine was being used by desk agents to check in EasyJet Plus customers. Given that other EasyJet flights were checking in as well as ours, I really think that EasyJet should have more machines available, particularly during busy periods. Once we got to the machines, the actual check-in process was fairly straightforward, although annoyingly you have to go through the process for each bag separately, rather than being able to check in all 3 bags at one time. Once that was done, we headed upstairs to security. Thankfully the queues were relatively quiet and we were through within a few minutes, which gave us ample time to have a look round the duty-free shops and pick up some snacks for the flight ahead. That's us. Remember there's a W.H. Smith's for sweeteners and stuff, so don't worry. As this was a mid-afternoon flight and we'd be arriving in Alicante at 8:30 PM, we decided to grab a quick bite to eat at Frankie Bennies. Service was fast and friendly and the food was decent enough for an airport chain restaurant. We were able to get a good view of our aircraft, this 15-year-old Airbus A319, which we'd also managed to catch landing a short while earlier. Because the inbound aircraft had been late arriving, boarding for our flight was delayed by around an hour. At the time of our trip, it was still mandatory to wear a mask on board all flights for Spain, and I feel this had been well advertised by EasyJet ahead of the flight, certainly something we were already aware of. Nonetheless, it seemed to come as a shock to a number of our fellow passengers who were milling around the gate area, trying to scrounge up masks to be able to be let on the flight. As boarding for our flight began, it seemed like half the flight had speedy boarding and were ahead of us in the queue, but the gate agents made short work of scanning everyone through, and within a few minutes we were heading out to the steps of our awaiting aircraft. EasyJet operate an all-economy cabin on their flights, and our A319 aircraft usually have 156 seats on board. However, recently they made the decision to remove the last row of seats in the aircraft, bringing the total number down to 150, which allowed them to operate the aircraft with only 3 cabin crew instead of the usual 4. I feel really sorry for the crew who must be stretched out even thinner than usual in these flights. Once on board, I settled into my seat in 9F and was quite surprised at how little legroom I had. I'm 5'11", so I'm not a giant by any stretch, yet I felt like I had almost no space between my knees and the seat in front of me. Added to that, the armrest to my right was set quite low and it was fixed in place. It kept digging into my thigh for the majority of the flight, which I found quite uncomfortable. Once boarding was complete, our full flight pushed back and we began our taxi to Runway 5. Our route today took us down the east coast of Ireland, over the south of England at St Ives, down past western France and over mainland Spain.
Got some warp.
If you're enjoying the video, please remember to hit that like button, leave a comment and subscribe for new videos. Once we were in the air, the cabin crew wasted no time in starting the onboard service. EasyJet operate a buy on board service with prices around what you'd expect for low cost carriers. We decided to give it a go as my kids fancied trying one of the pizzas and one of the bacon rolls. But unfortunately the crew ran out of bacon rolls and a few other popular items by the time they'd reached row 7. And although we were still able to order a pizza, unfortunately the sole oven on board packed in before our order had been cooked. Now neither of these issues were the fault of the crew, and they did a fantastic job dealing with it and offering proactive service recovery to those that had been affected. Equipment failures happen, and the oven breaking was just one of those things. But EasyJet really should have done a better job of loading enough food for the flight. This aircraft had 25 rows, so running out of your most popular items when you're just a fifth of the way down the aircraft clearly indicates a problem. Regardless, it wasn't a major issue for us, and we just sat back and enjoyed the view for the rest of the flight. As we descended towards Alicante Airport, we were treated to a beautiful sky and some stunning views over the Valencian countryside before lining up for our landing on runway 10. Touching down just an hour behind schedule, we had a short taxi to the terminal where we disembarked. Overall, it was a fairly decent flight with a really good crew, sadly let down by equipment and stock issues. Other than that, it was a fairly unremarkable flight, but it delivered what it was meant to and got us safely to our destination. Thankfully, once we were off, we were through border control within only a few minutes, and we were landside with our cases 23 minutes after touching down, which is a win in my book. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to hit that like button and leave a comment.